Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here.
Good morning, John. I'm Peggy Burton.
And we are just discussing. I read an article yesterday, or something that was done about a study that the prime time of a human brain is in of the creativity and the things that it can accomplish, or is in between 70 and 80 years old.
That's amazing. I'm not surprised.
And the reason why is because you have two sides of your brain. And one of them's the analytical side and one of them's the creative side. And they say, well, you're either right-brained or you're left-brained. And the younger you are, the more analytical you try to be.
Yeah.
But you don't have the skills, the problem-solving skills that life gives you to solve problems. They have trouble solving problems.
Who figured that out?
There's a big sign. One of these major hospitals tested people and did interviews for years and figured out that when you get older, you use both sides of your brain, and you can achieve. You're using 100% of what you have instead of 50%. You know, and you don't allow roadblocks that allow you that stop you when you're young from doing things.
That reminds me of a friend I had. She was an artist, and she believed a lot in psychic things.
Right.
And she said the only reason people can't get into their psychic part is because they don't use all of their brain.
Right.
The brain has to be open to it. So
right.
Anyway, that was
society, because let me tell you what we do. We as humans, it's easy to follow what somebody tells you is how you're supposed to be.
Not me. It's not easy.
No,
for
but for most people, you're looking at maybe churches, or you're looking at different ways of figuring stuff out. Well, it takes a lot of work to do your own research.
Oh yeah.
So it's real easy for you to listen to someone that possibly you respect, or in a position of leadership, to tell you, well, this is the way it is. And you go, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Does that mean that right now you're the smartest person on earth?
No.
No, but I can see that, how that's
true. And so it's real easy to, and so you're talking about this lady in mysticism. Well, see, their society's poo-pooed that for years and years and years.
Well, I think life itself is mystic.
Oh, certainly. And when Einstein died, somebody was smart enough to take his brain and save it.
Right.
And they sliced it.
And what did they find?
And they found out it was the most incredible brain. He used so much more of his brain
than other people.
And other places in the brain that normally don't work, his did. And that's a lot of these brilliant, inventive type people. They have access. Because we only use, 10%? Something like that? It's not very little, very small. And a lot of these very brilliant people use up to 20, 25, 30% of their brain.
And
it's amazing what the brain probably could do if we'd access all of it.
And it is interesting to me is that are people automatically born with more brain power, or is it something they can work toward and make their brain better? What do you think? Or more creative?
I just really don't know about. I don't know enough about genes and all of that, all of that stuff that makes that happen. I don't know whether.
But it does happen.
I mean, you want a better bull, you breed a better bull to a better cow.
That's true.
I don't know if that effect takes place as much in the human.
Well, I would think so.
But I would think it probably does. So there are people, that are probably, due to the way they have, who their moms and dads and lineage is.
And possibly it has something to do with the environment, the area in which they grew up, were they associated with a lot of people that use their brain a lot?
Well, yeah,
seems
if
like-
you're
it seems like
if
you'd
you're
pick up on
forced
that.
into competing in a group of folks that's pretty smart, you got to be pretty smart to
You got to
compete.
be pretty smart to compete. That's true.
You know, so, but I think some people due to their heart and the way they feel, allow themselves to have access to more of their brain. I think
Probably.
it's something that you have to allow yourself to do.
I think you have to open up your mind and
Yeah.
and soak things in.
So that is to say to you, don't, just because you're retired, and you see a lot of people who retire and die. Within 5 to 6 years, they're dead. But then you see a lot of people like Peggy, and there was a beautiful article about John Harton
I read
in
that.
the Good News Tullahoma magazine.
Yeah.
And all of that. Jimmy Carter.
Oh yeah. He's what?
You know,
100 years old.
He's close to
He's
100.
close.
He's not in
Yeah.
good health right now either. So they are thinking that he's pretty much on his way to the
Yeah,
next
he has
to the
lived
next.
an amazing life.
Yeah.
He really
and,
has.
And think about what he's accomplished. He probably has accomplished more after his presidency than any president we've ever had.
He's done a lot. Absolutely.
And Fran and I were discussing last night about him and Rosalind, and she had an opportunity, and I probably did too, but I don't remember it, to go, and several people from Tullahoma have gone to his church and
Yeah.
been to his Sunday school class
I've known people that have
and
done
say
that.
it's just phenomenal.
I'm sure it is.
But he's still working on habitat houses
Like, we got a lot of people in
at
this.
at almost 100.
We've got a lot of people in this town that are doing good things.
So stay
at an older
active.
age.
Don't retire and go, okay, I'm retired, and die 3 or 4 years after you retire. Find something else to do. Get yourself in good shape, and I know I've been remiss in that in my life, is going through a period of going, well, I just don't know if I can do that anymore. No. So
Yeah, sometimes it's hard.
yeah, but you have to get yourself up, get back on the treadmill, or do whatever you need to do to get yourself physically and mentally ready to go out and challenge the day, because there's so much out there to do,
Yeah.
and so many good things to be accomplished.
I'll give a plug for the therapy people, physical
Sure.
therapy people.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had this sciatic nerve thing, and it's beginning to get a lot better.
Good.
And it's just because they make you do things that you think you can't do.
Right.
And that's.
But you can.
it. But you can. You have to do it.
You have to do it. You have to do it, and it takes repetition, and it doesn't happen overnight.
And you don't.
But look what you can, if you look back a year after you go into some type of program and see what you've accomplished, you'll go, wow,
Yeah.
I never thought I could have
Didn't know
done
I could
that.
do that, yeah. And
You
so
know-
I encourage people of any age, and life is not all about being old. At any age, keep dancing, keep playing
Oh, yeah.
baseball, keep doing whatever it is you love.
Bowling,
Bowling,
coughing,
it's got to be good
music.
for
I want to say something about our little lady in the back. Julia, if you could come out here and raise the camera up just a little bit. We want to talk about the fact that this is a year, I think today is the anniversary of the first bombing in Ukraine by Russia. And there you
Yes.
go. She's dressed in
Good job.
in her Ukraine colors, but she also has on a Mardi Gras beads. Because
No, I
guess
forgot my
what?
Mardi Gras
Guess
beads.
what? Ukraine's not giving up.
No, they're
Ukraine's
not.
still fighting, and the Russians are looking at the fact that if they can't win this thing, it's going to
It's
be
cost-
devastating to
And
them.
it's costing a lot.
And the Ukrainians are going, we ain't leaving.
No,
We not leaving, folks.
they're kind of like the United States back in the day.
They're
you know.
tunneled in.
We're going to fight this to the end.
Gonna fight it till the end. And Fran has a friend that lives in Kyiv, and that she has been a pen pal with now for several
Oh, that's
years.
Cool. Yeah.
And she was very, very, very happy in Fran's last conversation with her. And it's hard to have a conversation because they don't know when they're going to have power, when they're going to have internet, when they're going to have anything.
I don't know how they ever have it.
And she got a sleeping bag. Someone sent her a sleeping bag.
That was nice.
And she was absolutely tickled to death the first time she'd been warm when she went to sleep.
Wow.
When there's no power, and she said if she turns sideways, her daughter can get in there with her.
Oh.
And when the power is out, she has an oil lamp that she puts in her oven and puts a metal plate on it and lets the heat that plate, and that's where they cook or warm things. And we don't think about stuff like that and what these folks are going through and seeing their towns, their cities just blown to bits, and sort of like World War II was.
I know people that live in the United States, we have our problems, Lord knows, but we're living in a much safer environment.
Well, we've never, other than Pearl Harbor, and that wasn't here, but I just hope that we don't give up our defense, our home defenses. I hope we keep funding our military, because guess what? You never know when they're going to be sailing right into New York Harbor.
Oh yeah. You have to be alert at all times.
Yeah, and so we have to be ready. We have to be ready for that. And speaking of the girl back there in the Mardi Gras beads, this is Fat Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday.
Mardi Gras starts tomorrow. Or Mardi Gras is today. Lent starts tomorrow. And tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. And what are you giving up for Lent? Do you give up something for Lent?
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe I should, but.
Well, some people do. It's not something you have to. It's just some people do that.
You're right. And it's good. There are a lot of things we could all give up, I'm thinking.
I've given up things, and it was very hard for me to do, and so I started giving up Brussels sprouts.
Oh my gosh. Of all things.
Well, guess what?
You couldn't do it?
No good anymore. I ate some Brussels sprouts that were put in an oven with Italian seasoning on it and olive oil, and they were baked in an oven.
And they were really good, and you had to eat them.
Give up. So now I'm giving up asparagus. I hate asparagus.
Funny.
I hate it. See, but now I get to keep my promise.
You can give up something, yeah.
Yeah, I keep my promise. Real easy.
I try to not need to give up anything. I just try
You
to.
like asparagus?
I eat anything.
Well, most people love
like
asparagus. I just don't like the taste of it at all.
Some people don't like the texture. There's a lot of, like, for instance, I'm crazy about raw oysters, but there are a lot of people who can't stand the way that feels in your mouth. You know what I mean?
No.
You've never eaten them?
I'm from, my family's from South Louisiana, Mardi Gras, here we are. No, I'm not an oyster eater. The last dozen oysters I ordered, because I try every now and then, I ate 20.
You ate
because,
20?
the 12th one went down 8 times.
Oh my gosh.
I just can't keep them.
Yeah, well, but texture.
Swallow it, spit it up.
I think it does texture or taste have more to do with what
texture to me.
Like to eat.
Texture to me, and that's like I don't particularly care for okra because I had it boiled. The only way we had it at our house was boiled, and I couldn't. I don't like anything squirts between your teeth when you bite it.
Yeah, well, when you were at my house, if you didn't eat it, well, you were going to be hungry for a while. Whatever was put out there, you had to eat it.
Yeah, we too, but that doesn't mean you had to eat it.
You didn't have to like it, I guess.
I'd wait till breakfast. Dad, I remember one night we had Chinese food, and that's before there weren't any Chinese restaurants or Middle Eastern restaurants around here. Weren't any restaurants around here anyway. Back in those days,
I think about how many there are now in comparison.
Maybe 3 in town.
Yeah.
And
so now you got
Mom had made some kind of Chinese deal. It looked like worms to me. And I wouldn't eat it. And Daddy said, yeah, you're going to eat it. And I said, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. No, I'm not. Your mama made it, you're going to eat it. No, I'm not. And about 10:30 that night after he went to bed, I was sitting out on the porch with my worms, looking at them. Mama brought me a ham sandwich, and she just winked and smiled and took the worms away and gave me a ham sandwich, and I went to bed.
I guess we've all been through something like that where, you have to, what you got?
So, I've read this before, but I'm going to read it again, and this is because of my Cajun family down in Acadia Parish, South Louisiana, and it's called the pawpaw tree. And this is how it was down there.
Well,
These people are the most relaxed, fun-loving, partying people you have ever seen in your life. Hard-working.
Throw it all out on a table and
That's right.
Eat it with your hands.
You know, sometimes experience brings a clarity of vision. See that shade tree over there in the side yard by the wash house? That is where my cousin Bubby and I took retreat from the noonday sun in Acadia Parish. Grandma would run us outside to keep us from being underfoot while she cooked lunch for the field hands. That was just fine with us. Sometimes we would crawl under the house and lay in the cool dirt. But snakes liked it under there as well, so the shade tree became our arena. It was a China ball tree, but Grandma called it the pawpaw tree. Why? I didn't know, because there were no pawpaws on it and no basket to put them in. We went anyway and did what young boys do. We rode stick horses into battle with stick guns and swords. We sailed the Gulf of Mexico. We were pirates, and good pirates we were. Those days were filled with visions of conquest, plunder, and all of the adventures that imagination could conjure up. The most magical part of the day, though, was in the evening when the workday was done. Bubby's and my grandpa James would join us under the shade, soon followed by his brother Page, with his 2 grandsons, our cousins, in tow. Thomas and young Page lay with Bubby and me in that lush St. Augustine grass. The grandpas took a seat on one of the old metal rocking back chairs, or the lattice and vine-covered bench swing. Each of them had a cooler. One was full of cold Dixie beer, and the other was full of ice-cold watermelon. At this point, the real magic of the old shade tree would unfold as they told tales of real battles fought, the real ships plundered, and the quest for Creole queens as they danced with the fireflies to the Zydeco band at the Fado Do. The last time I was in Acadia Parish at the farm, Bubby and I sat under the China ball tree and talked for hours. As we got up and walked toward the house, I glanced back to a long lost yesterday and heard a rice truck crunching down the newly shaled road, and saw the grandpas rocking in the darkening shade, smiling at me. At that instant, I finally understood why it was called the pawpaw tree. As Bubby's children and mine ran out of the kitchen door with sparklers in their hands, lighting up the night like Cajun comets.
I love that.
Happy Mardi Gras, you folks down there in South Louisiana. We'll be back after these messages.
The Duck River Watershed Society wants to invite you to our 2nd annual spring cleanup on Saturday, March 4th at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on ensuring the Duck River watershed continues to benefit those who live, work, and recreate on it. We need volunteers to help with cleaning up parts of Normandy Lake down to the winter water drawdown line. Sign up at our website, duckriverwatershedsociety.com, and help do your part.
Hi, my name is Ringo, here at Barkview Senior Living. They're human-friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Barkview. A Parkview Senior Living. For your dog's best friend, you.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how's sketches? Ready? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You didn't turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend, the Chamber of Commerce had their yearly celebration of the events that have taken place during the year and gave their awards out at their annual dinner. And we're going to bring you part of that right now. This is the outgoing and ingoing president and also the Citizen of the Year. And we are very proud of that Citizen of the Year. And as you watch this video, you'll understand why.
Hope let me know that as president you get to choose a board member for the President's Award, and I am thrilled to be able to do this tonight. So here I go. Some people among us are known to perform work with perfection, to imagine ideas and solutions on demand, and to have the compassion and charisma to lead a team unified by a common goal. Our own chamber was in search of such an individual as we collected fresh ideas for our community, events, and fundraising. From this exercise was born the idea of a 5K, which was imagined, planned, and implemented by our own James Fuller. Thanks to his vision and devotion to the project, running events have become among the Chamber's most profitable each year. The Chamber's 5K Wobble Gobble, Run the Greenway 5K, and the newest Mistletoe Mile are events that are entertaining on the days each one is held, and the impact they have continues well after the race. These are signature events that we depend on and look forward to, all the thanks to James Fuller. Tonight it is my honor to recognize him, but first I want to start by telling you just a little bit more about him. James is a Tullahoma native that we all know well, either from his high school days working at Woodard's Diamond Showroom, or perhaps you've dealt with him during the 20 years as a personal banker. Today, James is the Coffee County Market President for Smart Bank. He's married, as he has been for 17 years, to gorgeous Mandy Fuller, and he is father to their 8-year-old son, Jack. What we all know and admire about James is that he is a man of his word. He is committed to his faith and his family and to his Roman community and Tullahomians everywhere. In case you didn't know, it's also worth mentioning that James has participated in marathons himself as well as half marathons. He has competed in the New York Marathon and is now training for the Boston. If you follow James on Facebook, you know that his talents extend to music, as he is a talented pianist and vocalist. On his long list of interests is a love for his family's 57 Chevy. In fact, he has donated a date night in the 57 Chevy to the live auction tonight, so you'll need to open your checkbooks now to be ready. All of this to say, James is passionate. He's passionate about where he spends his time and gives his energy, and we're very fortunate that James Fuller has always had passion for the Chamber, for our growing community, and for each of us. For his work, for his friendship, and for the example he sets and the support he gives, it is my honor to present him with this year's President's Award. Note the music.
So this is a surprise. I want to correct one thing that Elizabeth said. All the thanks for anything that I've done is the people that I surround myself with. There's incredible board members and committee members and people in the community that step up, and none of it would be possible without them. So thank y'all very much.
Friends, I want to thank you for the support and collaboration during another year when Think Tullahoma was not only our magazine's title, but also our guiding principle for helping us make plans that made our town, that offers so much to us. In the last year, we have worked together to restructure the terms of the Chamber membership. We've planned successful fundraisers that have led to a very impressive finance report, and each of us has contributed toward the overall result. It has absolutely been my pleasure to serve alongside the ambassadors and the board of directors and to try to keep up with the hands and feet of the Chamber of Commerce, Hope Nunley, Tisha Fritz, and Lily Smith. Now seems a good time to recognize them with a round of applause for all they've done. And as my last order of duty, I am excited to pass the torch to someone with compassion, brains, and the heart to serve well as our next president. He is so well equipped to lead our chamber into the next century. He's a friend to me and to many of you in our room. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the incoming president, Mr. Andy Witt.
All right. There's a new sheriff in town. Thanks, Elizabeth. That was very nice. First off, before I get into my speech or anything, I'd like to thank our outgoing board members, Dr. Amy Nichols, Caroline Hennigan, Chad Hatfield, Danielle Carew, Jennifer Moody, Josh Clary, Vicki Shelton, and then I'm going to welcome our new board members. Cody Cleveland with CFC Recycling, Jessica Lawton with the Sin Federal Credit Union, Joanna Reynolds with Smart Bank Mortgage, Pam Carver with Keller Williams Realty, Scarlett Carpenter with First Vision Bank, and Troy Martin with First Bank. Now, thank you all for coming here tonight, in attending the Tullahoma Chamber 2022 celebration. Speaking for the Chamber, we really appreciate you coming out here. We know you have very busy schedules. You've got a lot of things on your plate, and we just appreciate you taking the time to attend this event. And before I say anything else, I'd like to thank Elizabeth Banks for her outstanding leadership during 2022. 2022 was a challenging year. We were coming out of COVID. There was still some uncertainty. She navigated it great during that time and did it with her usual class. I'd also like to recognize Hope Nunley and Tisha Fritz and Lily Smith. This trio did an outstanding job in 2022. And I've said it to Hope a lot of times. We did a fantastic job, I think, of pulling off our events, doing the work that we needed to do when it could have been an absolute disaster, during COVID, and it would have been, wouldn't have been too shocking. But they did a phenomenal job, and I think the Chamber's in as good a health as it's ever been because of that. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my wife, Amy. I couldn't be here without her. She's gives me great support. I wouldn't be here. She's truly a very lucky person. And y'all are lucky people too, because I did have a 5-hour speech, and Amy deleted it before I could memorize it. So give her kudos. Now, I'm honored to be the 2023 Tullahoma Chamber President. And as I said, we had a very extremely successful 2022. And my vision for the 2023 is really to keep the momentum going. We've got great things. We think this, we finally have a sense of normalcy, and let's keep our momentum going. Usually I say to Hope, I do it another way, and I think I told Jim Willard this too at one point when he asked me, and I said, my goal is not to screw anything up. I need to stay out of the way and let them do their jobs and give them the guidance where they need to be. But we have a great staff here at the Chamber. We have a strong board. We have fantastic ambassadors and an engaged membership. It's a very simple formula, it's not a mistake or it's not an accident how this chamber is able to operate the way it does. So how do we keep this momentum going? Well, this means for 2023, we want to continue increasing our membership. Tisha shared with you the goals she has for in the number of memberships we have, and she wants to bring us to 500 members. That's a great way to continue the momentum. I think we continue to provide networking, opportunities, training, and organizing the great events that we have, the recognition we do for the women impacting the community, the 40 under 40, James Fuller's Wobble Gobble. If y'all have never been to that, even if you don't run, it's fun to go down there the Saturday before Thanksgiving and just watch the activity going on. And a lot of people come from pretty far away to participate in that event. And then also the Christmas parade, which is probably the signature event that we do. So, keep doing these events that Tullahoma can be proud of. If we execute these goals, we will achieve my vision of not screwing it up.
Now time to honor our Citizen of the Year. Each year we ask all of you for nominations for several awards, including our Citizen of the Year. We seek an individual who makes a visible impact on our community over time. A person who sets the pace and the example for our fellow leaders and community members, creating a path paved in kindness, hard work, and consistent effort over time. This person we are honoring tonight has been all of this and more to Tullahoma and our chamber. In her life, she has shown the value of family, married to her sweetheart for 45 years, sharing the joy of raising her daughter Jenny, and watching the family grow to include her son-in-law Greg and their 3 children. In her career, she met many of you in her more than 20 years at the American Legion and another 20 years at Traders Bank. There, she serves in her role greeting the community with a welcoming smile and a positive attitude and a work ethic matched by few people. She is never off the clock. In everything she does, she gives 110%. At the Chamber, we've been blessed by her leadership, joining us as an ambassador and then elected to serve on the board of directors, then elected to serve on the executive board, and she will be joining us as our president in 2024. Since joining us, she has volunteered at every single Chamber event. She is active in our CEO program, providing bank day to students at Traders Bank, helping our smallest community members understand the value of relationships and being good stewards of their money. Her warmth and care for the community shine in her service to the Chamber as she promotes Tullahoma every chance that she gets. Her volunteerism extends to more than just the Chamber. She also gives her time for Five Loaves for Kids, the American Legion Auxiliary Club, and is a great supporter of every single event and activity her grandchildren are a part of. Please stand and join us in welcoming to the stage our 2022 Citizen of the Year, Mrs. Nancy Fuller.
Well, I don't know what to say, but I'm very honored to receive this award, and I appreciate all of you, and all I can do is say thank you so much.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop-top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash jumping up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's Conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman.
And I'm Pat Welch. And John, we're here today for the 60th rendition of the Conversations with John and Pat. Another milestone.
Pat, I've got a song here, and I'm going to ask you to hold the words because I haven't done it in about 20 or 25 years.
Well,
and to be fair with the audience, you know, you probably think I spend hours practicing these songs. No, I don't. Normally, when I come here, that's the first time
30 seconds.
That's the first time I've heard it myself. You know?
Well, we've had one time, John, where we had to quit midstream.
I've done that.
This will prevent that from happening again.
I've done that.
That would have been about rendition about 28.
I did this with George Orr it might have been at Cherokee Plaza. I think that's the name of the plaza over there, or the mall plaza, parking lot.
Well,
did this years ago.
George and I are kind of on the same wavelength.
That's I've been to New York City and I've seen those city lights, but I'd trade it all today for just one Tullahoma night. My mind is on the Southland, that's where I long to be. I'm coming home to you, Tullahoma, Tennessee. Tullahoma, I'm coming home. Years ago I left you. Would you move your thumb just a minute?
I'm sorry, John. George.
Calling me. I've searched the whole world over and I've seen all I want to see. Now I'm coming home to you, Tullahoma, Tennessee. I've been to San Francisco and looked across the bay. It's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to stay. 'Cause I got a sweetheart waiting for me patiently. I'm gonna settle down with her in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Tullahoma, I'm coming home. Put that back.
Yes, sir.
Years ago I left you, the World Cup calling me. I've searched the whole world over and I've seen all I want to see. Now I'm coming home to you, Tullahoma, Tennessee. What a song.
John, with the exception of that one thumb misplacement, I didn't do bad.
Oh, man, this is going to be a good segment. The song is so-so, The subject matter is wonderful because Tullahoma is a wonderful place, but the song is just so-so. Not very fitting.
I thought the performance of it was outstanding.
Well, I'd need to practice for many, many minutes. But I want to let the folks know that I went to, what day was that, Pat? Sunday night?
The 27th of August on Sunday.
We went down to the induction ceremony of our friend Mr. Welch and the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we had a great time. I understand, and I'm not sure of the exact number, but there were probably 40 folks from Tullahoma that day.
It pushed 50.
And
the total crowd was close to 300.
Yeah, it was a great night, and had a good meal, and then they had each of the inductees, which I think were seven.
Yes,
seven
sir.
Inductees. And my friend here, because his name always ends in W, is last to speak. But I want to tell you that the last one was the best, in my opinion.
Well, that's that may be a stretch, John, but I appreciate that. Yeah.
But it was a good ceremony, and I sat next to a gentleman that you knew at Father Ryan. Joe Lester's on one side, and I
had seen him. We figured up one time in the last 40 years, and that was we walked past one another at a state tournament about 10 years ago, I guess, and you were pretty fortunate because he was a legend in Middle Tennessee in the 70s. Bobby Garman that coached at Father Ryan.
I enjoyed sitting next to him, and he was very nice.
As acclaimed as their Father Ryan's wrestling program is, they started in the early to mid 60s, and they've only had 3 wrestling coaches. And you got to sit next to and eat a good meal with the middle one. And Bobby Garman was a good coach and a class act.
You had 2 pretty ladies there. One, as I remember, 87, and the other 91 that was there.
My mother and mother-in-law were there at 87 and 92 years young, and both behaved.
Were they proud of you? And
they were both proud, and my mother-in-law was kind of lost for words.
Very surprised.
Well, I think I said in my speech that she was utterly shocked when she found out that I'd been included in the Hall of Fame. My mother-in-law and I have a great relationship.
She's a nice lady, and your mother, a great lady too.
Yeah.
You started wrestling, your wrestling coaching at BGA.
BGA. And
tell a little bit about that.
Well, I really certainly didn't attend that, and didn't in high school. But I was there helping with football, and the football coach was the athletic director. And we lost our head coach, and he decided that I was going to be the wrestling coach. So I didn't apply for the job, and I didn't ask for the job, and I didn't want the job, but I was told I had the job. And he sent me to a really nice coaching clinic at Northern Iowa University, and Dan Gable, who's arguably the best wrestler that's ever been in the U.S. anyway, he was the clinician, and it didn't take but a week's worth of going to this clinic that I kind of was on par with most of the coaches in Tennessee at that time, Middle Tennessee especially, because there just wasn't, the wrestling was to the state was brand new. I don't think the first wrestling tournament, high school tournament, TWSAA sanctioned wasn't but at 61 or 62, something like that. And but I left BGA and came to work in Tullahoma at the Builder's Supply, and I had great visions of my children, at least the sons that I might have, would end up being 6'1", 220, and could run 4.5 40s, and would be magnificent football players. But the first time we took the first one to the pediatrician, he did not appear anywhere on the growth chart. He didn't make the second percentile. In fact, he was a 0. And when a man walks into the high school at 85 pounds, he's kind of limited in what he can do.
Let me interrupt you there, though, but he had a heart. Didn't John have a heart for wrestling and for winning and for competing?
Yeah, and Michael was a really good youth wrestler, too.
That's right.
And I think he hit the chart the first time at 5%. Anyway, I really felt like that being forced in to coaching wrestling in high school was almost providential, because it gave me something that I could help my own children in, and I hope I've been a little bit of help to the wrestling program over a pretty good while. We started the kids program here, and I believe the first season would have been the 91-92 academic school year, and it's been great for me, and it's been, I think, good for the high school wrestling, because it's really improved the experience level of their wrestlers.
Now, your son won a state championship.
He won a state championship in 2000.
And Mike, both young men were great track people.
Good distance runners.
I always think of John.
And you were a good distance coach, John.
Well, I don't know about that, but I had him in track over at East Middle, and he was determined to break the track record.
Yeah.
We had 2 track records. One was a
a 5-year interval, and the other one was, that's been forever. He didn't want the 5-year interval. He wanted forever. He wanted that one, and he trained, and the little guy wasn't near the size of the one who held the record previously, but he beat that record. I remember the day when it happened. Not sure of the date, but it was tremendous, his desire, and he had people calling out time to make sure each lap was sufficient.
He had great timing and feel for how fast he was running, and of course he was so small, he wasn't real. His sprinting ability wasn't really good, but he ran. Well, it was 5:04, I believe, mile. Of the 4 laps, the fastest was his last lap, and his slowest was the third. I believe that's right. And they were off by 2 seconds. The fastest to the slowest was off 2 seconds, that's pretty incredible sense of pace.
To talk about another young man who was an excellent wrestler at the high school, Matt Sweeten. You coached him early. I saw his mom and daddy the other night, and tell me about Matt.
He, when we first got started, there was a guy in town named Ken Hagan, who had an ultrasound medical business, and he had a son he wanted to get wrestling, and somehow he found out, I still don't know how he found out that I had been at BGA for a while, but he knew that I'd been there and that I had a son about his son's age. And so he said that he was going to take him to, I believe, the parochial school in Winchester, and they were going to practice on gymnastics mats. And it was going to be real low-key, that kind of thing, And he said, do you know of anybody else that would be about their age that we could take over there? And I said, well, I don't know what kind of wrestler you know, but I know a bulldog for sure, and that was Matt. And the first time I saw him in practice, he was just really had an innate God-given talent to follow motion, and if you drop Matt from a 10-foot ceiling and he'd land in an absolute perfect wrestling position. If you drop John from that when he first got started, it probably wasn't a very good position. One could learn over repetition, and the other one he just had it. But Matt was a really tough guy, and he's there's not many 3-time state champions in Tennessee, and he's one of them. And there's very few in Middle Tennessee below Nashville. In fact, he may be the only one.
And we've left out many good wrestlers in this conversation, and we know that those young men need to be recognized too. And this is your coach that you had as a youth,
you pointed out something I need to add too, then, because we've had 2 other state champions that grew up in the kids program, at least for a while, and that was Brandon Bruner, who won at 103. Maybe 08, 09, something like that. I can't remember exactly when. And then Cody Quick was wrestled at 215, and he won his state finals with a pretty early pin. He was extremely dominant, where most of those other 3 were fairly small. Cody was big and could really move.
Well, we're going to have to move along and finish this segment up, but we want you to know, Pat, shake my hand,
Thank
buddy.
you, John, and let's see that picture of my friend shaking my hand that we had just been presented these green jackets. Somebody asked, are they close in prestige to the green jackets? And the answer to that is an overwhelming no. But I was very appreciative of John being there. And
I see Mr. Green in the background.
Mr. Green was in
there.
the background, and I think Al Morris, our high school coach, that's his back in the green shirt there.
Well, God bless you, Pat. Appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you, John. We shall return for segment 61 if management will allow. And management was clapping. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
Parkview Senior Living, active, independent senior living at its finest.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and we have our buddy back with us, Mr. Jackie Duncan, author, poet, alderman, councilman, all-around good guy. Bet he's a deacon or an elder, too.
I am chairman of my deacon board at church.
There you go.
Mount Zion.
Here he is, folks. Can you ask for more than that out of somebody?
Y'all do some fabulous things.
Huh?
I'm sorry, Ray.
Can't ask for more than that, can you?
No, I've been blessed. You know, I don't know, maybe it's the fact that sometimes when you show your desire to lead a little, and people say, well, get on out there, you know, and they'll throw you out in front of everything, you know. But
and they'll call on the busiest person in the country.
Yeah, that's true.
You want somebody to count on, call on somebody that's busy.
Well, that's how I got involved in politics. Well, I don't call it politics. I call it servanthood, pretty much. And,
public service.
The public service and servanthood. You're a leader servant, or servant leader, should I say? And that's what God wants, you know. And that's all that matters to me. But when I first, I guess my first encounter with government, I told everybody, no, never, never, never. Don't want to get involved in that, you know, too much posturing and things like that. And I never would run for any kind of office or anything. And people would just, you know, push me to it, and I would go to serve, you know, and that was my attitude about it. And so I never would have gotten involved in city government had it not been for the fact that somebody, well, let's put it like this, somebody asked me to get into county government first because a friend of mine died, John Berry.
Right.
He
John
passed.
Berry was councilman
Yeah.
for years.
And I was content with that. Let him do that, that's just
Of
me.
course.
Yeah, and so and he was in my district, and so anyway, I just never thought about it much, and I thought about even up here at City Hall. I said, no. So, but anyway, when John passed, I was asked to put my name in the hat just to fill his position, and I said no. I had just retired, just like you said, retired from Arnold Air Force Base after 34 years, and but I retired early. And I think people thought I was going to have too much fun or something.
Too much time.
Too much time on my hands. And so they said, nah, you got to get, represent us and this and so. And that was the only reason I got into county government. And so I put my name in the hat, and then I got selected to fill it over, I think there was another guy that was after the seat, and I wasn't even after it. And so then after that, I was elected the next, when the term expired. And so I said, well, this is as far as I want to go. Then I was asked later on, I think a couple of years into my servanthood with the county, I was asked to put my name in the hat for the city council. And I said, no, I can't do that. And somebody said, oh, yes, you can. And said, we've done the research.
Miss Peggy have anything to do with that?
No, she didn't. But she's helped in so many other ways, I'm telling you.
She was
Oh God, and she's
what
got a
an
lot of
amazing
and
individual.
she was a very dear friend, and we just clowned all the time. She was a great friend of my mother's.
Yeah.
And they were just, fantastic.
That's Peggy Northcutt, right?
Peggy Northcutt,
Yeah.
yes.
For those people out there who might
Yeah,
not
for
know
people
who
right
we're
who
talking
not-
about.
Yeah, right, different Peggy. I hadn't thought about that. But anyway, we and so I said, well, okay, if my city needs me, and if I can help in any kind of way. City didn't need me, but if I could help in any kind of way, I'm always happy. So I did. I said, okay, I'll put my name in the hat. Well, so I got elected on city council, city alderman, and while I was serving as a county commissioner. So I served actually 2 terms as a city alderman and county commissioner. And after that, of course, I lost my city election by 5 votes, and I felt kind of guilty because I said, there are other people that want to serve, and I'm sitting for holding 2 positions, and I thought, I kind of just kind of, even though, like I said, I'd been asked to do it, I just thought, well, so I said, let it things will work out. Things will work out.
I bet you were a leader all your entire life.
I pretty much
If we look
have
back,
been out front. Yeah, I was leader probably of my class. I was valedictorian in my
I
class.
had the feeling.
Yeah, and I just kind of led, I guess, all along, and people throw me out there, and I just, okay.
I know one thing he was the leader at. He was the leader running, chasing those young women young ladies back years ago when he was single.
Yeah.
Looking good,
yeah.
dressing good.
Oh, yeah. You saw that, didn't you?
We kept Jackie dressed up to the T. I mean, he was to the nines.
I'll tell you, my first charge account was, you were probably at Clyde Phillips working out then, and that was my first charge account. My grandfather took me in there. My grandfather knew everybody downtown. Everybody knew him. Sweet Duncan. And so
That's where you got all this talent from your grandpa.
Well, Sweet. They called him Sweet Duncan. Sweet. His name was Henry, and but Henry Sweet Duncan, and everybody called him Sweet. I guess because he's such a sweet man. He was a good man.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't come any better than him. And he retired from the railroad, and we lived with him, and that was one of the greatest points of my life, I guess, living with my grandparents. We lived with our grandparents, and back during, we talked at one of the first shows I believe that we did, talked about the Great Migration.
Yes.
And the Great Migration was actually during that time when, I think 1910 to 1950 something or whatever. But anyway, my dad, after World War II, so my dad served and his brothers also, he served in the Army. That's why I was born at Camp Forest.
Right.
And during at the end of World War II, my dad, and then his oldest brother, next brother to him, Dad was the oldest. His next brother was Henry, and Henry served in the Air Force, and the baby boy, Talmadge, served. He was a Marine. So we had them all, had all the services covered. Army, Air Force, and Marines. And then I brought in this old picture. You remember when?
Oh yeah.
That big picture I brought in of the what was that? The Spanish-American War.
Right.
And there was a big family member in that.
That's
so we've
awesome.
and so we've been blessed, and I've come from had some good folks in my life, you know, some good influences, and of course Dad's brothers left and went to California with his sister as well, because she married a local guy, and my dad's two brothers and his brother-in-law with my sister, they all loaded up and went to
California. That's a lot of nerve.
Pasadena, California, at the end of World War II. Well, it wasn't a lot of nerve, I guess, when things weren't going so well, you know, and
they just
after slavery, it was a mess, you know, and Jim Crow and all that, and they went to California to a better life, and I think they found what they were looking for, so it was a blessing. And
did you ever go out there?
I used to. My dad, we used to
go out and visit.
Well, we did, yeah. Dad would. I remember Dad bought a '58 Ford station wagon, and this was back in '58, and we loaded the family up, Grandma and Granddaddy, and all the kids, loaded up and went to
Probably
Pasadena.
bought it from Don Ellis.
We did. But Dad was
Ellis Motors.
That's right. And Dad was a Ford man all the way. So we loaded up everybody and went to California. And of course, then you couldn't stop. Only place you could stop to get gas and get a drink or something at a service station. Couldn't use the restroom.
Right.
We couldn't use the restrooms. So we went all the way across the country. Now I drove straight through. Trip was 47 hours. I remember.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was one of the trips, but I timed one of them, and that was it. I believe 47 hours and 55 minutes. I was pretty right much on time then. And so we drove that whole way, and you know, couldn't go to a motel or anything. We couldn't. So we just we stopped and had packed food and pack enough food for 3 days until we could get home or California, whichever way we were going, east or west. So it worked out, and stop and use the restroom at the rest stops and things like that. So anyway.
And while you bring that up, I re-watched part of the movie The Green Book the other day.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
that is a movie with Viggo Mortensen, and it's about he's a New Yorker, and he's a driver for Dr. Don Shirley, who is a black pianist who lives above Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
And played all over the world, and there was a pharmacist up north that wrote a book called The Green Book that gave the places that African Americans could go and where they could stay and where they could eat and where they could,
that wasn't many.
and the parks they were welcome in. And so that's how they had to go around this country. And if you haven't seen that movie, The Green Book, please watch that movie. It is a very educational and very transformational movie as well.
It told how times were back then. That's just the way it was. And so, we endured it. And we went to California on several occasions. I think 2 or 3.
Did you like it once you got to California?
Oh yeah.
Did you like the weather and what was always going on out there?
Oh yeah. And when once I graduated school and I went to, it was A&I State University at the time, and I went there for a brief while, and I came back and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, you know, where my heart was. I went to work at Arnold Center. I had a job at UNESCO for about 10 minutes. And I told her, I said,
you didn't like it, did you?
But anyway, and I used to get on the phone about 10 minutes, and I got on the phone every day, and I'd call out at the AEDC, Arnold Air Force Base, and said, "You got anything open yet? Got anything open yet?" And I had a friend out there that would keep me posted, and then so, no, not yet. Finally, I got on out there, and so it was, and that was the first. I was a first in that particular job. I've been first in several things in my life,
wonderful.
and I've been blessed. And that's when the times were changing, and you know, opportunities and the doors were opening up a little bit for black people, And I have an announcement to make also before we leave. But bottom line was that I was the first black person to work in the wind tunnel back there when, and other than I was told this, other than a non-custodial position. So, and I was hired as that was my first job at Arnold Center. I was hired as a technical assistant, assisting scientists and engineers in data processing. I think it paid barely above minimum wage, but it was all right.
It was out there.
It was out there. It was out there.
30, how many years later?
34 years later, just about. And again, I was the first black security guard out there. I was the first in one or two other things, but anyway.
Well, what's this announcement you've got?
I've got, tonight at C.D. Stamps Community Center, as part of the Black History Celebration, I've been asked to make a presentation on Black History, so we'll be there at 6 o'clock with a program for Black History, and it's going on all this week. The We Care Committee.
That's wonderful.
We Care Committee is sponsored. Actually, you won't go on Wednesday night because they used to leave at night open for church services.
Right.
So, but they're a great organization, and so I've been asked to do a program tonight about just Black history and everything.
And is it open to everybody?
It's open to everybody.
It's
yes.
free to get in.
It's free.
And
it's
if people out there that don't know where that place is.
It's at C.D. Stamps Community Center on Jackson Street, going toward Winchester.
You can't miss it.
Can't miss it at all. And it's they have a. Now I'm going to tell you something else I did this past week that was fantastic. I was invited to the Tullahoma Daycare Center to address the children on some things, and I did. And one of the things I did, I just wanted to encourage them to be their best, to live your best. To grow up when you're growing up. And I said, and don't let people discourage you. And one of the poems in my book is called "Don't Discourage Me." This is pretty much. This is what each one of them got a copy of this poem. Some of them got it on this type of paper, but then some of them got it on this type of paper, colored. This is colored paper.
You need to read that to us.
Okay, it says, "Don't discourage me." It says, "Please don't tell me what I can or what I cannot be. Seeds to do things never done are waiting inside of me. Unbridled minds full of ideas to conquer the world, it would seem, are convinced each day by discouraging souls to give up on their dream. Speak love, speak inspiration, tell me all that I can be. Guide me and correct me, but don't discourage me."
That's beautiful.
That's a shorter version of the full version that's in the book.
Right.
I had to do.
And where can somebody get that book?
That book, I got it, and it can get it Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, everywhere online. Every book seller online that has. I've even seen it in Chinese print. Couldn't read it. Couldn't read it all, but it was it's out there everywhere books are sold. And
what's the name of the book?
The name of the book is called "Living on Purpose: The Poetry of Life" by Jackie Arnell Duncan.
Arnell.
Thanks,
buddy.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
You're always
Appreciate you.
so full of stuff.
Happy Black History Month.
Thank you.
So with that said, folks, we'll be back after this message.
The Duck River Watershed Society wants to invite you to our second annual spring cleanup on Saturday, March 4th at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on ensuring the Duck River watershed continues to benefit those who live, work, and recreate on it. We need volunteers to help with cleaning up parts of Normandy Lake down to the winter water drawdown line. Sign up at our website, duckriverwatershedsociety.com, and help do your part.
Hi, my name is Ringo, here at Barkview Senior Living. They're human-friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Barkview. A Parkview Senior Living. For your dog's best friend, you.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is me? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Good morning, all you good folks in TV land, and howdy, lady camera women, camera ladies. It couldn't be on the screen without y'all, and thank you, John, for that introduction. Let me, if you'd like to be a millionaire, I'm going to ask you, when television came to Tullahoma, I know it was in September. Was it in 1945? Was it 1950? Was it 1955 or was it 1960? Somebody give me that's your final answer? Well, you get a penny, but it came in September of 1950. Channel 8 was first, Channel 5 was second, and Channel 4 was third. 50 years now. And y'all haven't been putting it on the screen for 50 years, but sometimes it seems like it. But isn't it great that we can see action as it's happening? You know, back in the before television, you'd see a newsreel at the movie house and a comedy and then the feature. But the thing about it was, when you saw the newsreel, it was anywhere from a month to 2 or 3 months old, whatever the news was back then. And it's wonderful that we can have it right today. And of course, television is a live photography and motion photography. But now back through the years, before there was television, of course there were motion pictures, but before that there was still photography. No color, just black and white. And photography is a way of communicating with people, with each other. Pictures are a very important part of our lives. And I bet everyone in the viewing audience has in their purse or billfold a picture of their boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband or somebody in the family, their children that they like to share. And of course, photography and history and love all have one thing in common. They got to be shared to be worthwhile. And I thought I'd share a little bit about the studios and photography in Tullahoma. Back around the turn of the century, there were a couple of brothers in Tullahoma named Staley. One of them's first name was Booth Staley. I don't remember the other one. They lived on South Jackson Street and had their studio on the second floor of Lawson's Hardware, which is at the corner of Wall Street and Lincoln Street. More recently, it was the home of Goldstein's department store. But the Staleys had the studio upstairs there. They had no flash bulbs and very little artificial lighting, and they used the big windows up there with reflectors to make their portraits and their pictures up there. This is a picture, can you see it, camera lady, that was made evidently welcoming a welcome delegation from the Chamber of Commerce. And you see the photographer standing up on a chair, all bent over there looking through the back of his camera, making the picture of whoever it is. And I think this was probably made around the turn of the century. And that picture, as were most pictures back then, were made with what we call a view camera. And this is a 5x7 view camera, and the film was a sheet film that was put in a holder and put in the back there, and one film would come out one at a time, and they would focus it and get good sharp picture and then make the picture, and then cover it up with a dark slide and go from there. And then they'd have to take it to the dark room and develop it in a plate holder or a tray with the developer. And of course, all film has to be totally put in holders and developed in absolute total darkness. Otherwise, it would be foggy looking. But this is what's called a view camera or field camera, and it has to be mounted on a tripod, just like your camera is mounted on a tripod, so it will be good and steady. And they're a lot of fun. This one is probably right at 100 years old. I have another camera here that is a 1921 model, and it's called a Graflex view camera. And my mother gave this to my father as their wedding gift in 1921. I had it rebuilt a few years ago and still use it. It makes a picture 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. And one of the famous people that was photographed with this camera was in 1936. We were visiting relatives in Dallas, Texas. Always went out to Love Field to see what was going on out there. And we saw a big crowd of people around the airplane, and my father and I walked up close to it, and there was Amelia Earhart. And Amelia Earhart was demonstrating an autogyro plane in 1936, and we got some close-up pictures of her, and she was lost in the South Pacific the next summer. And we treasure those pictures very much that were made with this camera. And at another time, I'm going to bring some more modern cameras to show you how much smaller they've gotten. And you know, the digital cameras these days and the camcorders and the video cameras are almost taking the day. But they're a lot of fun to use, and they're not hard to use at all. You just have to know what kind of film you're using and what application it's made for. And one of the special pictures, I mentioned the Chamber of Commerce just a moment ago welcoming a delegation to Tullahoma, and I'd like to show you a picture of the president of the Chamber of Commerce today. This happens to me be an early picture of Candy O. And Candy O loved her Heinz beets, and I think on this particular occasion she had a big mouthful of beets and sneezed, and you can imagine the kitchen, the table, the ceiling, and her mom and daddy were totally covered with beets. But that's what pictures and cameras are for. Quickly, after the Staleys came a fellow named Sam Penn that had his studio over a former Locke's Dime store, and then our longtime friend Paul File had his studio there and on Jackson Street, and our friend the late Bob Plummer had a studio on West Lincoln Street for many years. All of them excellent photographers that recorded not only families, but recorded history. And we've been real proud of them for a long, long time. They were a lot of fun, and they gave much of their profession to the city. And we're going to come back and show you a lot more, because this is not the end of the story. There's a whole lot more to come, and I thank you, and everybody have a real, real good day.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
STEM is everywhere. Like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker boards.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We'll see you next time. Be safe out there.